Okay. Let's leave Wonderland and Alice behind, and let's concentrate on the root of the word photon. Now, this is a slice of quantum mechanics. If this doesn't clear it up for you, then nothing will. All of quantum mechanics is like this, by the way. Let's take the word that everybody uses today, most everybody, the word photon. The notion that light is a particle. Well, no, it's a wave-particle duality. Sometimes it's like a wave, sometimes it's like a particle. Bullshit. First off, there's no such thing in nature as a duality. Mother Nature doesn't deal in dualities. There are no dualities in nature. I've actually gone into explanation of that endlessly before. Let's just concentrate on the word photon. Now, in 1905, the idiot Einstein, and by the way, those are Nikola Tesla's words, who called Einstein a fool, an idiot, a beggar dressed in purple robes. Okay? It's not me saying that. However, I agree with Nikola Tesla that Einstein was an idiot, was a fool. Specifically, Tesla absolutely despised the fact that Einstein reified space as something which acts upon other things. Specifically, Tesla said that, and he's right, that space has no properties. But let's get to the word photon. 1905, the idiot Einstein, yes, I said idiot, coined this two-word phrase, das Lichtquant, light quantity. Light quantity. Okay, a quantity of light. Now, we could kind of live with that. However, the reification of atomism, if you don't know what atomism is, and you should type it in a Google search, atomism is particle fantasy bullshit. Let's get to the root of the word photon and who coined that term, and then you're going to be really shocked. Okay? So, it wasn't Einstein who quoted or created the word photon. It was created in 1916 by a psychopath named Leonard T. Troland. Yes, now, when people talk about credentials, you think that the word photon and the notion of a light particle would have been, I don't know, somehow rooted in someone with a degree in physics or something. Of course, there are plenty of people in physics and whatnot that are, insane lunatics. Let's see, Mr. Troland, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, degree in biochemistry, and studied psychology. Okay. Biochemistry and psychology. Oh, that's not the good part. The good part is that Mr. Troland, and by the way, he fell to his death off of Mount Wilson. Mr. Troland, who died, I believe, at the age of 44, his main interest in a couple of his books were into parapsychology and telepathy. Like really crazy-ass, insane, occult, weird nonsense. Okay? So here we go. You see this guy right here? This is the guy who coined and created the term photon. This lunatic that you're looking at right here, okay, who created the word photon, which later caught on, was a lunatic who wrote books on parapsychology and telepathy. He even supposedly built a machine for telepathy. He wrote crazy nonsense about occult, mind control, sort of, fringe crap, shall we say. Let's just say off the wall, batshit crazy, straitjacket, mental asylum nonsense. Here's your hero. Okay, all of you out there who are fans of Einstein and of quantum mechanics, here's the asshole, here's your hero who created the word photon. Biochemistry and psychology, who was interested in parapsychology, occult weirdness, and harebrained ideas of like telepathy, like I'm gonna bend, that spoon, Uri Geller sort of stuff. There's your guy right there. That's the guy who created the term photon that everybody uses today. Oh, photon. Listen, the idea that light is a particle is one of the most insane piles of excrement to ever sit its dirty, gigantic, hairy butt upon the minds of humanity. If you think that light is a particle or that Mother Nature, deals in duality, well, sometimes it's a particle, It depends on how you observe it, and sometimes it's a wave. We know it's waves, but later on we discovered sometimes it's like a particle. No, none of that shit's true. Light is very simplex. It's a coaxial circuit, A pulse perturbation, right? The reason for the supposed duality is the misapprehension of a coaxial circuit. You actually have a pulse perturbation, like a rarefaction, and we have a compression. The loss of that inertia in the pulse perturbation manifests itself as transverse. Oh, here we have the right-hand rule, Light is moving in this direction, yet the pulse perturbations are compressing and going into compression and rarefaction like this. 90 degrees to the path of travel. Oh, wait a minute, let's go further down the rabbit hole. Light doesn't actually travel. Nothing emits light. It's a pulse perturbation. It's a coaxial circuit. It's a field pulse perturbation. That's right, kind of like someone flapping their arms in the middle of a pond. You see, the person flapping their arms in the middle of the pond is not actually reaching out to the other side of the pond. He's still in the middle of the pond, creating up a perturbation. Perturbation? Perturbation doesn't make any difference. Tomato, tomato, both pronunciations are correct. A perturbation in the waves. It's a field perturbation. If you think that light is either wholly a wave or a particle or a combination thereof, then you are as insane as this lunatic with a degree in biochemistry who his main interest, and a couple of his books, by the way, parapsychology, telepathy, crazy fringe occult sort of crap, right? Okay, here's your hero, boys and girls. The guy who coined the term photon was an occult lunatic nutjob. Yeah, there you go. Leonard T. Troland. That's it. A completely arbitrary concept. Oh, there had to have been some really key, sharp minds behind the creation of the term photon. No, actually it was a guy deeply interested in telepathy and occult sort of fringe nonsense, That's your hero who created the term photon. You must be so proud of yourself. All those people in quantum mechanics and quantum physics are all the time talking about light particles. You're insane. You're absolutely insane. You're as insane as this guy is. There is no such thing as a light particle. There is absolutely zero existential, objective, substantial proof, zero, for such a notion. It has no basis in reality. There is as much photon particles as there are unicorns and leprechauns living in my backyard. If you believe such nonsense, I submit that you're A, either an idiot, B, have been brainwashed for so many years you actually can't think clearly or see clearly, or C, all of the above. Generally speaking, you're a fool. You're a fool. But most people don't question the stuff that they were taught. Well, I've been teaching this. People have been telling me this stuff for decades now. They're PhDs and, prestigious universities. Well, sure, that's always full confirmation that these people are correct. No, it's not. There you go. I'd like to show you your hero right there. The photon particle. The entire concept, coined by a lunatic, right there, a lunatic, heavily interested in occult quackery. Cuckoo! 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 That's your hero, boys and girls. Those of you who are into quantum mechanics and, who are great lovers of atomistic nonsense, You're raised on Star Trek. You ever watched a lot of Star Trek episodes? Everything was a particle. There were like time particle, tachyons. There's a particle for everything. Everything had its source in a particle, and the answer was also, we're going to counteract those tachyon particles with boson quantum particle. If you were raised on Star Trek, they spoon-fed you that atomistic crap. Everything is fields, boys and girls, and fields are not particles. If you believe in this crap, You are not too bright. I would actually go further, but then it would be insulting. Saying not too bright is actually being very mild. Lux i veritas.